Here's what's coming up.
After the disappointment that was Kung Fu Panda 4, I decided to go back and watch the previous movies again, and let me tell you, the trilogy is still as good as I remember, if not better. After watching the trilogy, I decided that I would make 3 videos going over each of the 3 villains, giving each their own video. In this video, we're going to take a look at Tai Lung, the first antagonist of Kung Fu Panda, and talk about why he's such a well-done character and antagonist. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys so much for getting my channel to... Hold on. My memory isn't that great. I gotta go back. Thank you for getting the channel to 561 subscribers. And we have reached 3,000 watch hours. Your boys are gonna be applying for monetization soon. But that's besides the point. What's important is you guys. You guys are the rock stars. Thank you. Let's get into this video. I'm taking too long. Tai Lung is the first and best student of Master Shifu, being found at the doorstep of the Jade Palace when Shifu was in his younger years. Shifu took him in and taught him the ways of Kung Fu, telling him that he was destined for greatness. Years later, Tai Lung had become a prodigy, mastering nearly all the elements of Kung Fu. With his mastery of Kung Fu, it seemed fitting that he would be deemed the Dragon Warrior. But Oogway said he was not the Dragon Warrior and declined him of the Dragon Scroll, claiming that he saw darkness within him. In a fit of rage, Tai Lung began to lash out at the village before trying to take the Dragon Scroll by force before being stopped by Oogway. He was then sent to the most high-security prison I've ever seen for life before breaking out after being there for 20 years. Okay, now first things first, his introduction is just cold. If you saw my video on why the chameleon is such a bad villain, then you know that for me, one of the biggest things about villains is how they're introduced. That sets the tone for how they're gonna be for the rest of the movie or TV series or whatever. Dude was in prison for 20 years, says nothing for those 20 years, doesn't react to anything, not even his tail being stomped on, just to break out of his chains and use nothing but his bare hands to break out of there. Not to mention, he broke out of his restraints with a feather. A feather! Also, can we take a moment to realize that Tai Lung spent 20 years just lifting up those big boulders? Like, how do you do that? Because I want to learn. He then proceeds to sauce up everybody in that prison, gets past all their weapons and fail safes. That includes ballistas, hundreds of armed guards, and dynamite. Like, bro got that cat in him for real. Now, as I said before, one of the most important parts of the villain is their entrance. In the case of Tai Lung, him escaping this prison in such an epic way lets us know that he's no slouch whatsoever. We are shown that he's going to be a major problem in the future, and we're also just shown that he's a straight badass, and everybody loves a badass. Later on in the movie, we get a glimpse of another very important part of a good antagonist, being their motivations. Why is the antagonist an antagonist? Why are they doing the things that they're doing? The motivation plays a huge part in dictating how the audience feels about the antagonist. Do we agree with them? Do we disagree with them? Are they doing it for what they think is right, or are they just straight up crazy? The motivation tells us what type of person this antagonist is deep down. In this case, we learn that the reason Tai Lung is doing what he's doing is because he believes that he is the true Dragon Warrior. He feels entitled to the Dragon Scroll due to all the years he put into training. Now, I know some people are going to feel some type of way about me saying that he's entitled to it, as many people believe Shifu was the one telling him he would be the Dragon Warrior. And while I do believe that Shifu plays a huge part in Tai Lung's rage, and I will get into that later in the video, we need to acknowledge Tai Lung's entitlement in himself. Growing up, Shifu would tell Tai Lung that he was destined for greatness, but he never outright said that he was destined to be the Dragon Warrior or that he was going to get the Dragon Scroll. Shifu never promised Tai Lung anything, although he did feel confident that he would get it, he never straight up said it to him. Growing up, Tai Lung saw the Dragon Scroll as the physical embodiment of greatness. He believed that the Dragon Scroll was the top of the mountain, that if he had the Dragon Scroll, he'd be great and he'd be the greatest. And when he was denied the Dragon Scroll, he felt that he was a failure and that he wasn't great, despite his skill alone making him great. Without the Dragon Scroll, Tai Lung saw himself as nothing but a disappointment. Now, I know everything I said makes it seem like Tai Lung is fully at fault for his own emotions, but there is another part that we have to discuss, and that's his father-son relationship with Shifu. We see in the movie the amount of trust Shifu puts into Tai Lung, teaching him everything he knew, demonstrated by Tai Lung's nerve strike he used against the Furious Five. Ever since Tai Lung was a baby, Shifu trained him to be the best and would constantly tell him he was destined for greatness. Shifu taught Tai Lung everything except one crucial thing. One key piece a person needs to truly be great. That piece is humility. As I said before, Shifu began teaching Tai Lung at a very young age, and for years he would fill his head with praise and tell him he was destined for greatness. However, since Shifu never taught Tai Lung what that meant, Tai Lung saw greatness as physical strength and skill, literally seen through the dragon scroll. He confused power for greatness, which led him to believe that if he was destined for greatness, he was destined for power and the title of the Dragon Warrior. Shifu failed to teach Tai Lung selflessness and humility, so Tai Lung became selfish, power-hungry, and entitled. Tai Lung felt like he was owed the Dragon Scroll due to all the years he dedicated to his craft. In Tai Lung's own words, Shifu filled his head with dreams. He filled his head with the desire to be the greatest. Due to that, when he wasn't given the Dragon Scroll, he wasn't given validation. Therefore, he wasn't great. Tai Lung chased his so-called destiny, but he never once asked himself if that really was his destiny. He had just assumed it was due to what Shifu was telling him. And it's this complexity, this deepness within Tai Lung that truly makes him such an amazing villain and such a great antagonist. Tai Lung is a great villain because he's not really a villain. He is the bad guy, of course, and Tai Lung wasn't a good person, but that isn't completely his fault. Tai Lung is great because the audience can understand him and we can see ourselves within Tai Lung. We see what we could potentially become when things like humility and selflessness are thrown out the window. In the pursuit of power, validation, and the desire to make the ones we love proud of us, we too can fall down a dark path. Despite everything I've said, Tai Lung makes it abundantly clear that what he really desired, besides all the power and everything, he desired Shifu to be proud of him.
What I ever did, I did to make you proud! Tell me how proud you are, Shifu! Tell me! Tell me! I have always been. From the first moment, I've been proud.
And there's a moment where you could see on Tai Lung's face that he's thinking about everything that's happened, where he realizes that all along, Shifu was proud of him. But he knows it's too late. He knows he can't go back and change everything that's happened. He knows what path he's on, and he's sticking to it. In the pursuit of power, greatness, and his so-called destiny, Tai Lung ended up lost, and sadly, he wasn't able to find the right path. And that's my reason for why Tai Lung is such a great villain. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think. Why is Tai Lung such a great villain for you? Hell, do you even like Tai Lung? Let me know down in the comments so I can ban you from the channel. Be sure to like and subscribe. Let's get to that 1,000 subscriber mark, guys. Thank you, and I will see you guys in the next video about anything. I love y'all. See you later. Ha! Take that, asshole!